This is my oral discussion of the perks of being a wallflower. I've chosen the topic number 3 and number 7. Number 3, discuss how the songs referred in the novel are thematic to the character's life. And number 7, discuss how the theme abuse is explored in the novel and what role it plays in the life of the characters. Focus on minimum 2 characters. I'm going to start out with the music question. And I think music plays a big role in the novel. It is mentioned a lot, and a lot of different songs are referred to throughout the story. And for Charlie, he kind of uses music in a way of feeling connected to other people. He also uses it to show love and affection. He, in the beginning of the novel, on page 66, he gives Brad a mixtape, and this is how he describes what he feels. Just thought to myself that in the palm of my hand there was this one tape that had all these memories and feelings and great joy and sadness, right there in the palm of my hand. And I thought about how many people have loved these songs, and how many people got through a lot of bad times because of these songs, and how many people enjoyed good times with these songs, and how much these songs really mean. Here Charlie kind of describes what songs can have an impact on people. He describes joy and sadness, and a way of getting through bad times, and a way of enjoying good times. And I think Charlie also feels a connection to other people when he listens to these songs. He reflects and thinks about other people have listened to them, and he feels happy when he's connected to other people. He mentioned this again in the novel on page 102. It says, "And you know that if you looked at these facts when you were happy, you would feel great, because you are describing unity." And unity is in a state of being united or joined as a whole. And he says here that you are happy when you are in this state. And Charlie often feels like an outsider, so when he starts to connect with other people, he gets more happy as a person, and he develops as a character. And the tunnel scene, the tunnel song used in the book is Stevie Nicks' Landslide, originally from 1975. And just gonna read out from when they talk about it. It's in the very ending of the chapter 1 of the novel, and it says, "When we hit the tunnel, all sounds got scooped into a vacuum, and it was replaced by a song on the tape player, a beautiful song called Landslide. When we got out of the tunnel, Sam screamed this really funny scream, and there it was, downtown, lights on buildings, and everything that makes you wonder. Sam sat down and started laughing, and Patrick started laughing, and I started laughing. In that moment, I swear, we were all infinite." This is described when they go through the tunnel, and he's also here, he's in a happy moment. He's with 2 of his friends, and they feel, here they say infinite, which means like nothing really matters, or like everything is possible. And I looked at this song they talk about when they are in this state of feeling infinite, the Landslide song, and in chorus 2 of it, it says, "Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But times make you get bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too." And that song is basically a symbol of growing up or evolving, changing. And that's a lot, like that's what happens in the story as well, especially at that time when the song is referred to. They say about Charlie, he's changing, he's getting friends, he's becoming a happier person. So songs in the novel are used to kind of represent the mood or the storyline that's going on at the moment, also the characters' feelings. And I think that is quite cool. I'm going to move on to the next one now. Discuss how the theme abuse is explored in the novel and what role it plays in the lives of the characters, focusing on minimum 2 characters. And It's mentioned 3 kinds of abuse in the story: physical, psychological, and sexual abuse. I'm gonna focus on physical abuse because that's like what's the main thing is. There's most of that that's talked about the most. There is different examples of this. There is the sister getting hit by her boyfriend in the very beginning. Charlie talks about when his dad hit him at some point. We know that Charlie's dad was beaten up by his stepdad, and then there is the whole Aunt Helen thing, where Aunt Helen, she then sexually abused Charlie, but we also know that Aunt Helen was abused by both her exes and also her old stepdad. And I think focusing on Aunt Helen, we can see how abuse really has an effect throughout your life, and when you were abused younger, you can end up abusing someone else without probably meaning anything bad about it, but it messes you up, especially when it happens to you as a child. This can also be seen on Charlie, because he was abused by Aunt Helen. This was again sexually abused, and even though he don't really recall it happening, he's a bit weird. Charlie's a bit of an outsider, and this might be caused by this happening to him as a child, that it affects him in later life. And then in the very end of the novel, he kind of has a breakdown, and we know throughout his life he has these, we call them blackouts, and he's been visiting a therapist and stuff like that. So abuse really, they show in the novel how it affects you throughout your life. And with the physical abuse thing, it's seen a lot in relationships. Like I mentioned before, Aunt Helen got beaten up by her ex-boyfriends, and the sister got hit by her boyfriend. But focusing on Brad and Patrick, they also kind of has to go through more of an emotional kind of pain. And I'm going to refer to something described on page 53 and 54, where they're describing this rat experiment. It says, they put a rat in a cage, making it search for food, and when it knew the way, they would start to electrocute the rat. It would get harder and harder until it stopped going for the food. Then they would change the food into some kind of pleasure thing, and then it would take a lot more pain to get to it. And I think that can be referred to the abuse in relationships, because in looking at Brad and Patrick, they go through a lot of pain to be together. They have to hide it from especially Brad's parents because they know that they're against it. And then when they end up finding them, catching them being together, Brad's dad beats up him big time. And even though they end up not being together, that's because that's when Brad's limit was with what pain he can go through to get to his pleasure, which in this case is Patrick. So abuse is discussed in the novel differently, and it's quite interesting looking at this, especially in relationships, and how it will affect you in later life, looking at both Aunt Helen and Charlie. So again, interesting. That was it.